Call your sponsor.
Call you sponsor.
Call your sponsor.
Call you.
Bitch, call your sponsor.
Call your sponsor. Call.
Welcome back to Bitch Call Your Sponsor. I'm Sam.
And I'm Misty.
Hello, Misty.
Hello,
shall we
Sam.
do? Hello. Shall we do our primary purpose?
Let's. Our primary
Our
purpose
primary purpose
is for
is
Misty and
for
Sam
Misty and Sam
to grow their
to grow their
friendship
friendship.
and maybe
And-
help others.
Okay, so I wanted the topic I brought is actually part of this tool that I discovered this week, and I'm kind of excited about it. It's called the Wheel of Feels. There's a dude that is a computer programmer that is also into self-discovery and exploration, and created this tool. It's an app. It's free. That for one to identify their feelings. And there's basically 3 layers. You know, there's the like 6 basic feelings in the center: happy, sad, mad, glad, whatever. And then you go in from there, and then you can actually log in feelings. And so, you know, when I first came in program, I always heard feelings aren't facts. I went to the other extreme where this is a program of action, just take some action, you know. And so for many, many years, I just kind of dodged the feeling and just like, you know, covered up with some service or some step work and didn't necessarily feel anything. And, you know, the longer I stick around, it's, you know, what you always share about is equanimity. And it's actually having awareness and space to actually experience a feeling and go through it versus, you know, covering it up with even program. So what I'll share is this process that I've been doing, and then I'll turn it over. But so what I've been doing is logging in feelings throughout the day, and not being rigid about it, being very open, like, oh, you know, let me just take a pause and just check in with self, you know, and see what is the feeling. And it's been a wonderful exercise because I don't know a lot of the feelings on the wheel still. You know, I'm still kind of learning. Like, give me the basic 6 in the center and I could live there all day. But like, to go deeper, it's like really been wonderful. And what I've been doing is just identifying where it is in my body that I feel the feeling. And then if I choose to log it, I've just been listing where in my body, and also then writing down if there's like a coinciding narrative, you know, with that feeling. Because I tend to have the same narrative of doom and gloom and shit's hitting the fan and we're fucked. And then actually just sitting in my body and just breathing, you know. And so that's kind of been my process. And I'm having a lot of feelings, go figure. Over to you, Misty.
Well, I find this fascinating and disturbing because I, too, have such a hard time knowing what I'm feeling in the moment and saying what that is. So I'm definitely going to use this tool. I'm so glad you introduced it. And I was reminded of a massage therapist who, as I was on the table, she said, go ahead and tell me what colors your body is showing you. And I was like, okay, woo-woo massage therapist. But I went ahead and checked in and I'm like, I see yellow. And she was asking me to describe, you know, what colors I was seeing. And then as I said it, she would say, okay, thank your body for showing you that color. And now whenever I'm in that position, I will, you know, think of the colors and think. And so I like that this coincides with colors. And it's a great tool. I can't wait to pick it up.
So, you know, through the lens of ACA, I love that you were able to identify the color and like the initial eye roll, right? Of like, okay, woo, you know,
Yeah.
and then just going through it and then having your own experience. You know, it's like there are different and this is another episode, different bottoms that we, that I go through, and different things that I when I stay this course of sobriety that I get to go through. And, we've shared a lot about our journeys with the beverage, and then also ACA, and what I'm really getting really clear with is how this is so rooted in how I was raised, and in my home, feelings were, someone gave me the example of you stepped on, there's three parts. You stepped on my foot, 1. 2 is, ow, that hurt. 3 is, please don't do that again. Right. And some families don't even acknowledge that a foot's been stepped on. That was my family. So we never even got to 2 of like, ow, that hurt, because we never even addressed what was happening. Everyone was like in their own rooms, in their own part of the household, and just like numbing out however they did. My mom was through food, through depression, through streaming. Then it wasn't really streaming; it was just whatever cable.
I was like,
yeah, no, we're not that advanced. No, we're not that advanced. She had the cable. She had the cable box that was brown that was attached to a wire.
Oh, yeah.
That went to the back of the TV. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then, I was in my room, fantasy, masturbation, pornography, all of the above, drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, escaping, like avoid feelings, alter moods, like it's my job, or it was the other extreme of they were their feelings, where the anger was like, oh my God, they just like sprayed me with so much spit because they were so angry and expressing their anger, where like the house would shake.
Yeah. I loved your analogy, or that story you just told about the stepping on foot, because in my home, it was, you stepped on my foot. Are you okay? Like, it was me abandoning myself when I was in pain to make sure my mom was okay, that she just hurt me. And then, the thing about these feelings, like, I'm hyper vigilant onto other people's feelings. I can read an upturn of a frown. I can read a blink of the eye and looking away. I can read everybody else's feelings. I have no problem doing that. It's what am I feeling?
I'm waterworks, because I just like, and I think we've discussed this before, but I'm really, really in touch with this lately in my day to day of like how I still am that adult child. I'm that child trying to just feel safe, and that I'm constantly it's so ingrained to just monitor how I'm being perceived and the temperature of the room and reading the room and what are they thinking, and so that I could feel safe. And then like, that's why this feelings wheel is like really so trippy, because it's like inviting me to go inward versus me assessing the situation, which, similar to you, like we numbed out, we went to opposite ends. I love that you're like, oh yeah, well, how are you okay? Which is like, wow, it's like, I get it all, and it's like the extremes of how we dealt with it. For me, those patterns are that they're like deeply grooved in there, and so like for me to be vulnerable, for me to let people in, it's been a long journey, and 2024 is, I think for me the year of deepening and allowing more of myself to be seen, for people to see me, in a more vulnerable way, because there's been such a protection that I've built around me in my heart.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. So beautiful. And yeah, we are coming at this from opposite sides, but like you've said before, it's the same core wound, because I had this faux vulnerability, which I didn't realize was a faux vulnerability, of just telling everything up front. And feeling like that's a closeness, that's an intimacy. If I just immediately meet you and tell you all of my flaws, put all the cards on the table, and then, assess whether you approve or disapprove and how we're going to move forward. And that's not a thing. You know, keeping all the cards to yourself or throwing them all out on the table right away. Neither one of those are equanimity. And I really, really like this feelings wheel. And as you were talking, I was thinking the healing part for me, and I've gotten a few glimpses of it since I've been practicing ACA, is that I can be in a room and be in my own inner world and approving of myself and giving myself a hug and enjoying myself and give zero fucks about what everybody else is thinking in that room. And that is where I'm trying to get to, and be Misty everywhere I go, regardless of everybody's temperature.
So I wonder if, we have our path of 12 steps, right? Through the lens of the beverage program, through other programs. And has there been, are you able to, in looking back, see where there's been like a seismic or just really a shift in the feelings thing? Like, it's interesting. It's, for some reason, very recently, I've just been hearing people say like, oh yeah, my sponsor had me write, what I feel in my step 4 resentments thing. I was like, huh? That's not in the book. Like, what format did you get this from? Like, did I miss something? Like, huh? Like, you guys were discussing feelings? Like, we kind of discussed feelings, but it was more of like me storytelling, and so I'm just like, I've been just inquiring with people, like, where were feelings discussed? Like, where was there a distinction ever between the feeling and the story? Was there a step that actually got, like, I think about me and feelings, it's like the melting of the wall around my heart, and like, has there been a specific step or year or thing where you really kind of were more aligned with your internal world and the feelings?
I love Sam is like, wait, were y'all doing something I was supposed to be doing? Like the perfectionist. Like, wait, where was that? Where did you see that? Why did I not get that?
Yeah.
I love it. And I also thought of like the first rule of AA is that we don't talk about feelings. Not really, but no, I didn't hear anything about feelings. And I remember I went to a writing group, and this wasn't that long ago. I must have at least been 20 years sober. And I would go to this writing group, and the feedback was, I would get the humor, I would get the dialogue, but they wanted more feeling in it, in like the description or whatever. And I'm just like, what? I don't understand. Like, my brain, it felt like my brain was a computer, and they were telling me to put feelings on the page. And I was like, what is that? How would I ever come up with that? What would I ever know about that? And I remember another girl in the writing group, we met in the group, but then saw each other in the rooms, and we're walking out, and she said something like, yeah, I'm like you, I can't put the feelings on the page. And I was like, whoa, like, I didn't say I couldn't put the, but it was like everybody knew it but me, that I couldn't access this like really important part of being a human and know how to express it. And I think it's only been recently that I'm aware of how I've handled a situation dramatically in the past, but not feeling a feeling, if that makes any sense.
It makes total sense. And I actually, as you were sharing, I was thinking about the journey, the ACA piece, where the invitation's back to me, right? To the child. And how can I share feelings when I know what's going on outside me? Like, that has been my entire life, right? It's the outside thing. It's the outside's going to fix me. The outside's where the feelings are, and not necessarily being connected to my inner guide or to myself, And so it's like,
abandonment. I was taught to abandon myself at a very early age. You stepped on my foot. How are you? I was taught to abandon any check-in on my feelings and go right to this person that's hurting me and make sure they're okay. That was the rule of thumb. And so now yeah, you're right. I'm an adult and everybody's like, what are you feeling? And I'm like, well, what does that matter? Let's keep the train moving.
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, I'm going to date myself. I sometimes joke that I don't know. Have you ever seen Frasier? It was like an offshoot of Cheers, which is really old.
Sam. And we've talked about this before. You're a Lilith. You're a Lilith.
I'm a Lilith. I'm totally a Lilith. I'm just like the robotic thing, just like, oh, did I miss that section in that, for that stuff, like, versus me just being like, oh, well, wait, how do I actually feel about potentially missing something or being left out or not getting it right? Like that's foreign to me, because it's like, no, let me.
No, go ahead.
No, it's just like, it's like, yeah, what do I have a feeling about it? No, it's like, let's just get this done. It's like all in the thing of action, where that's ultimately where I found the love is through the achievement of it all.
Call your sponsor.
Call you
your
sponsor.
sponsor.
Call you
Call
sponsor.
your
Call you
sponsor.
sponsor. Call you.
Bitch, call your sponsor.
Call your sponsor.
Send us an
Call
email with
your
comments,
sponsor.
questions, or concerns, bcysponsor@gmail.com.
Don't forget to rate 5 stars.